What's going on, Beans Army? It's your host, Les Abbott of the Less is More Sports Podcast, the social media and sports podcast. Due to scheduling, Matt McClellan, aka McMuffin, and I couldn't do a full episode today, so we broke it down. Still wanted to talk about the NBA trade deadline rumors that we are hearing on social media because we are the social media and sports podcast after all. And we're going to both give our top 5 rumors that we have been hearing. However, an honorable mention is going to be a blockbuster trade that has already happened, and that is former Nets point guard Kyrie Irving being traded to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith and a first and second round pick. And just like Lakers Twitter, I'm kind of having a meltdown because I thought it was going to be a foregone conclusion that it was going to be that LeBron and Kyrie reunion that we all thought we needed, right? Well, wrong. Instead of reuniting with LeBron, he's going to be joining up with a superstar that often gets compared to, at least from a statistical standpoint, LeBron James, and that is Luka Doncic. And, of course, Twitter is having a field day with it, both enjoying and hating on the move. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little surprised because for a couple reasons. One, I thought this was going to be the second to last team that I expected him to sign with, only behind Miami. But I also don't think this is a good trade at all. I think if you're Dallas, this is stupid. I mean, you have now, it's proven historically that 2 isolation heavy guards either work really well or they don't work at all. So you can really flip a coin on which is going to happen. The second part is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Mavericks have been struggling on the defensive side of the ball the last couple years, and that was one of the areas that they needed to focus on. Now, this season, they are ranked 14th in the league, which is a little higher than I would have expected. But now you give up 2 two-way players in Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, along with a couple picks for the future, to get 2 isolation-heavy guards that play little to no defense. So I think that the problems that have been in years past with the Mavericks of not being able to defend are going to resurface, and I'm going to hit or miss of how Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving will work out as a duo. I think they could potentially be like the quote-unquote have Luka Doncic as the point guard and Kyrie Irving as the shooting guard, very reminiscent of what it was going on in Brooklyn with James Harden and Kyrie. But again, flip a coin, take your pick of whether you think it's a good fit or not. But regardless, they gave up way too much defense and potential future players for this to work out, in my opinion. But that's just me. So now we're going to get into my official top 5 rumors that I was a little bit intrigued with. So kicking off at number 5, I have the Atlanta Hawks might trade Trae Young. And, all the signs may be pointing this direction. The Hawks are underachieving. They're below 500 despite trading for All-Star DeJounte Murray and having a talented roster. The rumor is guys in the locker room don't like Trae Young. NBA Central has the teams with the best odds to land Trae, as in this order: the Mavericks, Heat, Celtics, Nuggets, Lakers, Spurs, Pelicans, Clippers, Blazers, and Jazz. I do not think this happens at all. This is also why this is rated at the number 5 spot. He's led Atlanta to an Eastern Conference Finals, and he's proven that he is their cornerstone that they are trying to build around. And also, except for maybe the Jazz, I don't think he fits any of those rosters at all. So moving on to number 4, I have the Clippers and Raptors make a push for Heat point guard Kyle Lowry. So here's the thing. I don't know what assets the Clippers have that the Heat would want, but the rumors are that Kawhi wants to reunite with Lowry because, of course, he was the point guard on that Toronto Raptors team that won the NBA championship. Also, on the Raptors side of it, Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby are all popping up in trade talk right now. The Raptors clearly are showing that they want a rebuild in that direction. So rumors that they want to bring Lowry back to at least lead these young group of guys as they build their team for the future is a strong possibility. As the Miami Heat fan, because I know you're waiting for that to happen, we do need a younger, more established point guard to run our offense. Well, I don't want to say more established because Lowry was a very good point guard in his prime. The problem is he's just not in his prime anymore. So we need a younger guy who is established, is probably the better way to word that, to run our offense. So if we can trade with Toronto and land someone like Fred VanVleet, I'd be happy. But anyways, this does make sense. I do think the Heat eventually move on from Lowry, but whether it is the Clippers or the Raptors is yet to be seen. So number 3, and this one actually intrigues me that not a lot of people are talking about, and there's a rumor that the Spurs and Warriors are going to swap Jakob Poeltl and James Wiseman. I like this trade personally. Poeltl kind of reminds me of Andrew Bogut, and I think he'll have a similar role if he is traded to Golden State. So as for James Wiseman, the former number 2 overall pick hasn't lived up to expectations due to performances and injuries. So I would think send Wiseman to a team that really isn't considered a contender this year, but does have a good history and development, and let him eventually maybe see if he does pan out to be that number 2 overall pick that he was hyped up to be, even coming out of high school. And of course, got very limited time at Memphis due to some very shady accusations by the NCAA. So, gonna move on now. Number 2, I have John Collins going to the Rockets. And I feel like this is repetitive at this point because I feel like I've seen John Collins on trade rumors forever, or at least since the Clint Capella trade, right? The Rockets are rumored to be the favorites to land Collins. They're looking for a more off-the-ball versatility at the 5 position to play with Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. Collins gives them athleticism, rim running, and a spot up 3. The question now is what happens with star center Alfred Sengun. And I think for that to work, they would have to get a 3-team trade because Sengun wouldn't work in Atlanta with Capella and Okongwu already there. Personally, though, I would leave this alone because I think Sengun, if they utilize him the way the Nuggets use Nikola Jokic, the reigning 2-time MVP and favorite to win a 3rd straight MVP, which, going to be completely honest here, if they valued LeBron the way they value Jokic nowadays, maybe LeBron would have a lot more MVPs. I'm just saying. But moving on, I think Sengun can be that potential cornerstone center, like what the Nuggets are doing with Nikola Jokic, and I think they would be better off to run their offense through him than to run it through currently Green and Kevin Porter Jr. and kind of have them play off of him. I think it would be nice, but time will tell. And number 1, if John Collins wasn't on the trade rumors all the time, this next one has been literally on the trade rumors the majority of the time he's been in the league. And this rumor is Kyle Kuzma goes back to the Lakers. Now, Kyle Kuzma has been on in the trade rumors for 5 of the 6 years he's been in the league, as I just mentioned. He wants to go to a larger market team after he's having a career year in Washington right now. However, the Wizards do view him as a cornerstone piece with Bradley Beal and Kristaps Porzingis. But they are still 24 and 26 at the time of this recording in 9th place in the East. So they are in competition for that play-in game, but still not a clear-cut playoff team as of right now. Kyle Kuzma also becomes a free agent after the season. And the rumor is if he were to go back to LA, they would be getting a more mature version of Kuzma, who actually understands his role better next to LeBron and Anthony Davis. I would say trade Westbrook back to Washington because I thought Westbrook personally looked his best. And that might not be a little popular opinion, but I think Westbrook looked his best in Washington personally, especially when he went on that tear in the second half of the season to lead them into the playoffs in 2020. So that's my top 5 that I found intriguing. I feel like Matt's going to also have a very intriguing top 5 that probably involves a player that you all are wondering where is in my top 5. So without further ado, that concludes my video. And if you're still watching, shout out to you, Mom, because you know why. But that's all the time me and Bean had for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I think you're going to enjoy Matt's video even better. So, we out.